John.
Welcome to episode 3 of Factions. Les Wexner. Bring it up, Zeb. Let's get into it. I saw someone in the chat. Who is Les Wexner? You need to know.
Who is Les Wexner?
Leslie Herbert Wexner, born September 8th, 4 million years ago, is an American billionaire businessman, the co-founder and chair emeritus of Bath & Body Works Incorporated, formerly Limited Brands. He has been the principal in Abercrombie & Fitch, Victoria's Secret, and La Senza, amongst other retail corporations. Wexner, here's a key part, Factions, retained Jeffrey Epstein as his financial manager from 1987 to 2007. For 20 years, Jeffrey Epstein was Les Wexner's financial manager. Initially, Wexner was the main client of Epstein's money management firm, according to Bloomberg. Epstein ran his business from a house Wexner owned and sometimes lived in. Quickly, early life, Wexner was born in Dayton, Ohio, to parents Bella Kabakov and Harry Louis Wexner. Both his parents were of Russian Jewish origin. His father was born in, his mother was born in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. She moved to Columbus, Ohio as a toddler. He has a younger sister. He attended Ohio State University. It is relevant. It is relevant. We've talked about episode 1 and 2, JD and Vivek. JD and Vivek are both from Ohio. JD Vance also attended Ohio State. Vivek's wife works at the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center. Now, to be clear, Wexner's name's on it, not because he runs it. He just gave him a shit ton of money. Wexner currently resides just outside of Columbus. JD Vance was a senator from Ohio. Vivek is now running for governor of Ohio. There's also some overlap there. We'll try to keep this little screen here going. We're going to start tracking. We're tracking now, Zeb. You look well dressed for some tracking. By the way,
I'm just prepping because we're getting into the deep end of this a little bit quick here. We're on episode 3 and we're already about to jump head first into the Caribbean islands, if you will. I'm just prepping.
But we are looking at prices on the Lolita Express because we're going there soon. Right? We'll see if there's any non-holiday hours where you can get like a fucking, exit row for a little bit less than normal. I wanted to point out, I'm very proud of myself. People I'm hoping are saying, hey, your laurels are backwards. Nah, man, my hat is backwards. So the laurels are correct.
Nice.
Today I am my favorite character from Rome, Caligula. Shut the fuck up, Joe Boo. Whatever Roman person you want me to be in my 3-cent outfit, that is who I am today. Zeb, you said you were wearing a costume. That's our thing, but that looks like something you just wear every day, like when you go grocery shopping, if we're being honest.
I mean, around here, we're in the Bible Belt. That's what we got to do. EBT shutdown, looting, rioting, it's happening. So, some might say Lex might be funding some of it. Who knows? We'll have to track that down. And if not him, maybe somebody in the follow-on shows.
Yes, so we're getting into the leaders of some of these factions. Maybe we suspect. If this is your first time tuning into the show, we are not ascribing guilt. We're not blaming anybody yet. All we're trying to do is put sides to get well. And plot these people on our fun little graphs. We might as well get that going, Zeb, if you want to bring that back up real quick. We have Vivek and JD. Let's add in there Les Wexner. We have our 3 axes on our very easy to visualize 3-dimensional scale. Y-axis, we have authentic versus fake. X-axis, we have our guy versus Yale thing. And then we have the question of, are they a follower, or in Wexner's case, probably out here leading in some way. Maybe not quite 100%, but we'll leave them there for now. So, shall we continue, Zeb? By the way, do you know who Les Wexner is? I'll admit, up until the past few years, it's just not someone whose name, unless you're following the whole Epstein thing, that maybe you might not have heard. He kind of stays hid a little bit. Uh, you've heard of him, you know about him, that sort of thing?
Oh, you asking me? I thought you were talking chat. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've heard of Les Wexner. But I have a decent idea. I remember a couple months back, specifically when they were talking about the Epstein files, there was a big to do about not having the client list released, and a lot of the victims were coming out and saying, "Hey, if y'all don't release the list," because they were saying it didn't exist. If y'all don't release the list, then we'll put a list of our own together. And so I haven't seen a list from anybody, but Les Wexner's name was being tossed around pretty heavily back then. I mean, that was only
Wex,
like 2 or 3 months ago. So
he took it to the point of giving Epstein power of attorney, which is insane. Wexner is like the number one, as far as we can tell, guy that was involved with Epstein. And again, he was his financial manager. Epstein was Wexner's financial manager for 20 years, 87 to 2007. So Wexner, first generation child. Well, that's not technically true. His mother was born in Brooklyn, it said. His father was born in Russia, but they are both Russian Jews. There's sort of another term for Russian Jews from that time period. They're called Bolsheviks. Maybe. But one of the theories before we get to that, Zeb, was that Trump is maybe not in the Epstein files, but he is, or at least not in a bad way, but he is protecting powerful people that are in there in a bad way, because those powerful people, factions, are needed to get things done. Right. And if we go back to, well, why would Trump protect Les Wexner? If you pull up the shared screen again, it's probably something like that. Okay, there's all these different overlapping things going on, and you got a guy that's clearly an enemy on the left, enemy of conservatives anyway, we would say. But then you have this very direct connection to two of the biggest up and coming stars on the right. Now, I know there's a bunch of people who live in Ohio. There's quite a few people doing that Yale thing. That Yale thing, if you don't know, the Yale thing's the American Psycho reference. He's probably a closeted homosexual who did a lot of cocaine. That's the Yale thing. Oh, nice. You're ready to go. He's ready to go today.
that's the Yale thing. A bunch of clowns. That's what they are. Yeah, that's the Yale thing. I don't know. You said Trump wasn't on the list. I mean, for a long time, a lot of us said, yeah, Trump's not on the list. But I mean, the more that goes on, I mean, he's more tied to the list than maybe we initially suspected.
That is very possible, but today's episode is not about Donald Trump. We will get there. Today's about Les Wexner. But what I've always heard, correct me if I'm wrong, is that Trump took one flight or two on Epstein's plane, and it was not to that island, that he was the only one who cooperated with the victims' attorneys in the investigation, things like that.
Yeah.
However, I will agree it's Trump. There something's going on that
Well,
those Epstein files are, this clownish shit with all the fake influencers that had the binders. I'm old enough to remember that. You may have forgotten. Epstein Phase 1, which was a bunch of rehashed info, and then Pam Bondi saying, I have the files on my disk. And she didn't. And they just kind of hoped we're all retarded and forgot about it. And you know what, Zeb? Most of us are, and we did. So,
and then Bongino said he was going to quit if they don't release the files.
yeah, and then Bongino and blah, blah, blah. So, in trying to think Game of Thrones style, maybe Trump, I'm still trying to like him. Zeb, I'll bear that burden if you're over it. I'm still trying to like him. He's done a lot for me. That maybe he's forced to protect some sort of organization that is appearing on your screen right now. Now, again, there's a million people that live in Ohio. Oh, the three of them being in Ohio and connected to Ohio doesn't necessarily mean anything. And we're I don't think ever going to find proof of them doing some secret Bohemian Grove meeting, just declaring like a cartoon supervillain what their whole plan is. So the best we can do is derive from the information we have what are the patterns. I don't know off the top of my head. Maybe Les Wexner is the real governor of Ohio, like that sort of thing. Like he's the regional manager of the
Mm.
secret global cabal, something like that. He still does live right outside of Columbus and whatnot.
Like if
But let's
like
get
if Soros is a manager, you have a shift manager that's of Ohio, Les Wexner.
he kind of looks even a little bit like Soros, although they both are Eastern
Well,
European.
we dug into JD Vance and Vivek, and there's some Soros funding back there. So
Yes. So recall that JD Vance, no, I'm sorry, Vivek went to Harvard undergrad, got a degree in biology, a Bachelor of Arts, not science, which still cracks me up. He got the Paul and Daisy Soros Award. That is George Soros's older brother. Paid for Vivek to go to law school. Right. So that's the Soros connection there.
So we're trying to map all this out, and we're episode 3. I think we're getting somewhere, John.
We are definitely getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere, but it's going to be a lot of crazy conspiratorial theories until the patterns make themselves clear to us. So I don't know. Wexner is the shadow governor of Ohio or the shadow governor of the Midwest. I don't know. But let's keep so he goes to Ohio State in 1953. He wins a minor award for his essay, Why I Love and Respect Judaism. I competed in that contest. I had a different time. I did not win. He initially expressed interest in architecture, but graduated with a major in business administration. While at Ohio State, he joined Sigma Alpha Mu fraternity. I suppose, Zeb, I should probably throw that on the little list. Sigma Alpha.
So I tried to come in this thing because John does a lot of the research. I come in here. I'm the comedic relief, if you will. But you know, as John reads some of this, I know about Les Wexner, but I don't know Les Wexner. That's kind of what this is for. We're trying to define people. And when I come across when John reads out, he won the award for why I love and respect Judaism or something to that effect. It's like, can they like try a little harder to not be so blunt about everything? Right? I want to think of the world in a way that isn't so guided by a small group of people.
Well, I anyway, I'm going to try not to draw that conclusion until I'm convinced by evidence, in the immortal words of Sean Semenko, which was a great debate, by the way, on this channel last Sunday about who actually shot Charlie Kirk. But some good points were made. There's conspiratorial, there's circumstantial evidence, and to win a case in a court of law with only circumstantial evidence, it's got to be overwhelming, comprehensive, and convincing. So Sigma Alpha Mu fraternity. Don't know a lot about that. Kind of curious if JD Vance was actually. Let's just look real quick. Let's just look.
Control F. Can you search fine?
Huh? I'm just going down to his education. No. All right, fine. We'll do it that way.
I mean, regardless, I mean, I don't think the specific.
Oh, he did not. He did not.
I don't think the specific fraternity is that huge. I mean, there's a lot of crossover with these fraternities, especially when you go to some of these higher classes. Atlas says his name's plastered all over Ohio State, which I would imagine so. He's probably donated significant amounts of money.
Yeah,
and,
I'm with you on that.
And so, I mean, there's a lot of crossover. I mean, outside of maybe like, you know, some notorious ones are like Skull and Bones, which are like extremely obvious at some point. So
Little George Bush.
yeah.
All right, so we made a note. We'll come back to it if we see that again. But I think you're probably right. It's probably like 5 trillion different fraternities, and the name is maybe irrelevant if it is even meaningful. His career, Les Wexner, began his retail career working in his parents' clothing store, Leslie's, which was named after him. Don't know why. According to him, he began working at their store so they could take a vacation. He analyzed the sales and inventory, said, hey, you guys are being idiots. His father said, no, I refuse to adjust the inventory. Wexner said, all right, I'll open my own store. In 1963, his aunt lent him $5,000 to start The Limited. How much is $5,000 in 1963? Seems like that'd be a lot.
Let's do the Google.
You Google.
5K.
Oh, look. Basically, they focused on moderately priced merchandise, skirts, sweaters, and shirts that
About
sold
50
quickly
grand.
and quickly generated revenue. So his aunt dropped him 50 grand to open up his own store. He did so well that his parents ended up closing their store and going to work for him.
Just for reference, this guy's 88 years old.
Yes, he's very old now.
These guys, they refuse to die.
He's in that George Soros crowd, maybe Paul Soros too. He took out a bunch of debt to purchase importer mass industry. So he just went straight to the source and started importing his own shit directly. As you see, provided him with essential business advantages. Kind of reminds me of when didn't Rockefeller get his start as like a boat? He would ship things from New York to New Jersey and he would just charge way less than everybody else.
Yes.
Yeah. So that helps when you have a $50,000 loan holding you up. A. Alfred Taubman served as a mentor. They did a bunch of shit in shopping malls, which are no longer a thing. He expanded The Limited considerably in the 70s, opened its 100th store. He spent $105 million to purchase Lane Bryant, which I have heard of, unfortunately. He acquired Victoria's Secret. This was an interesting thing. When he bought Victoria's Secret from Roy Raymond, Raymond described Wexner as very guarded, stating, when I met him, it was as if he met the devil. Okay, interesting. So then he was facing bankruptcy and he sold it to
That was in 82.
Wexner. And Wexner was the one who started using the supermodels in the annual fashion show. In 1993, here's Harvard popping up again. He hires Len Schlesinger, a business school professor, who he later appointed a company director. I've seen this name before, actually. And I'm trying to remember where. I almost want to say we might have seen it in one of the previous episodes. So we'll double check on that. Anyway,
yeah,
he goes on.
We did.
Yeah, we'll check it in a second. He makes, Bath and Body Works is the big thing, but he just now has a shit ton of brands: Abercrombie and Fitch, Lane Bryant, La Senza. You get the idea. In 2012, CNN described Wexner the longest serving CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Top 100 best performing CEOs in the world, ranked number 11 in 2015. He announced he was, in 2020, announced he was transitioning from CEO into the role of chair emeritus. So about 5 years ago, he stepped back, or so he says. Quickly, he's on board of directors of Bank One, Sotheby's, American Ballet Theater, and Whitney Museum of Arts. All right. So he is a fashion mogul in Columbus, Ohio, where JD Vance is from, where Vivek is running for governor. He has been around for almost 90 years. He's been professionally working for like 70 of those. Longest serving CEO ever, apparently. There is this little part of this article about the Arthur Shapiro murder, but it doesn't directly tie in any way to Wexner. It does, other than, where is this? Okay, so right here. A nexus between Shapiro, the mafia, and Wexner. They looked into connections between Wexner and the mob. They found some tenuous connections between Wexner and the mob in some of his businesses, such as a trucking company. A local police chief said the report's theories were highly speculative and not based on evidence. I'm a bit more suspicious than that. And if there's a local police chief backing Wexner, it kind of sounds like maybe it is a mafia and the chief is in on it. But
No, John, that would never happen.
some controversy touched him in '85 through a business partner. Not a lot. Not a lot. I feel like that's a distraction. I don't want to go in that direction quite yet. So here's the big one: Jeffrey Epstein Association. Before we get to this, Zeb, I'm trying to keep an eye on the chats here and stuff. Any immediate questions before we just keep plowing ahead? We're trying to find the right balance, and as you said, comic relief to make this entertaining. My goal is that this sticks in your head. It's important. It's gonna come together like a fucking awesome movie. I promise. But I'm just sitting here reading a Wikipedia summary. So yeah,
Propaganda says, I'm sure everybody's ants are dropping 50K. Yeah, it seems like it's always like some obscure family member that just happened to just drop some dollars on somebody that happens to blow up. It's like all of these massive companies like Apple and Google, they just happen to be working out of their garage for like the first 5 years. It's like
they present this like he goes to work in his parents' store because they're working so hard they never get to take a vacation.
Yeah.
When he's got it's just got fuck tons of money and nothing, hey, here's 50.
Yeah.
I get I have people in my family that have a lot more money than I do, and they're not throwing it at me or anything. But like, it's not weird that maybe his parents weren't wealthy and his aunt was. That's not necessarily weird. We can try to find out who his aunt was and how it was that she was wealthy. I think maybe we should try to do that at some point.
Yeah, we could definitely do that.
But you're actually right. There's just over and over again these people pop out of nowhere. Well, here, for example, Vivek, when he got the Soros scholarship and got his law school paid for, he had already started companies. He has an interview where he says in law school, he was already worth $15 million. Like, he didn't need the money.
Really?
But he got it. Yeah. Yeah. He had already started a few businesses. But you're right. Maybe Wexner's father and mother failed their assignment. They weren't making enough money, and then he had the idea of the limited, and then the larger shadowy faction put him in charge of his parents or something. I don't know. Very early on, speculating. But let's get into Jeffrey Epstein Association, because that is the big one with Wexner, and that seems to be maybe the linchpin in figuring out what the pattern is here. Wexner hired Jeffrey Epstein as his financial manager from 1987 to 2007. That is, 87 is 2 years after the Shapiro murder investigation. Not that that's necessarily connected, but Epstein follows that by a few years. Wexner was the primary client of Epstein. Epstein claimed to only work with clients with a net worth of $1 billion or greater. Wexner purchased his New York property, the Herbert N. Strauss House, a house with a name, in 1989 and sold it to Epstein in the mid-90s, following Wexner's marriage to Abigail. That's Abigail Koppel. She is important. We will talk about her. In July of 91, Wexner granted Epstein power of attorney, 1991 till 2007. Is that 16 years, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah. That he had power of attorney. Wexner granted Epstein. He also instated him as a trustee on the board of the Wexner Foundation.
John, have you ever given anybody power of attorney of your over $1 billion of assets?
Send me an email, chat. You guys want my power of attorney? You want it?
Yeah, I'm just giving it out for free.
It doesn't really affect your life in any way. It doesn't require much trust. Because it's almost like you might have blackmailed it out of him. Maybe.
Well, I guess it would matter a little bit if it was a general power of attorney versus like a specific power of attorney. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but like a general power of attorney is what you think it is. It's complete control of everything. Specific.
It's a whole team of power of attorney rangers, and they're different.
They're special. Mm-hmm. And then you have the generals of the power of attorney. But yeah, and then you have special power of attorney, which is what it sounds like. You have very specific range of what you are allowed to power of attorney. But from what it
Sure.
sounds like, he probably has a general power of attorney. I mean,
We'll check into that. Again, this show is not about doing deep dives. I'm kind of hoping people in the chat will be mildly autistic and get it and kind of help us here a little bit. This is too much information for one person to track down, which is maybe part of the strategy, if you will. But anyway, Wexner has been accused of failing to take action when complaints were raised against Epstein. After executives of L Brands reported in the mid-90s that Epstein was abusing his power and connection to Wexner by posing as a recruiter for Victoria's Secret models. Maria Farmer contacted local and federal authorities about an assault she allegedly endured by Epstein and Glenn Maxwell while working as an artist in residence on Wexner's Ohio property in 1996. Maria Farmer says she was assaulted by Epstein and Glenn Maxwell while working on Wexner's Ohio property in 96. Within a year of the complaint, actress Alicia Arden filed a police report in Los Angeles detailing that Epstein had misrepresented himself as a recruiter for Victoria's Secret prior to another alleged assault. Epstein gets in good with Wexner, starts telling people he's a Victoria's Secret talent scout. And that apparently worked.
Was it a lie?
There's no statement here in Wikipedia, the highly reliable source, as to whether or not that was true. As to whether or not that was true. It's good enough for a summary of ideas, though. And it's
It was definitely a talent scout. That is not a question whatsoever.
In early 2006, we're getting up to 1 year before Epstein stops being his financial manager. Epstein was charged in Florida with, quote, multiple counts of molestation and unlawful sexual activity with a minor. The New York Times reported that 18 months after the charges were filed, Wexner cut his ties with Epstein. Charged with multiple counts of molestation and unlawful sexual activity with a minor. 18 months, a year and a half go by. Now we're in 2007. That is the end. Wexner cuts ties with Epstein. In August 2019, following Epstein's second incarceration and prior to his death, Wexner addressed the Wexner Foundation, releasing a written statement that his former financial advisor, Jeffrey Epstein, had, quote, misappropriated vast sums of money from him and his family. Wexner retained the services of Debevoise and Plimpton, however you say it, criminal defense attorney, former U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, Mary Jo White. Just finish up the Epstein part here real quick, and then we'll talk about it. Wexner faced additional public scrutiny in late 2019 and early 2020 when a group of wrestlers who are survivors of the Ohio State University abuse scandal. Wow. We got one of those here at Penn State, too, and that's going to come up on this show. I know quite a lot about the Penn State one. I don't know a whole lot about this one, but I'd kind of forgotten about that, Zeb. The Ohio State University abuse scandal. We're going to read about that.
Yeah, I don't really remember it. That's I don't really remember that one.
Ties to Jim Jordan, another Republican. Interesting.
Yeah, I got a hot take on Jim Jordan too, but we'll add him to the list.
A lot of us do lately. Publicly called on state and federal officials to conduct further inquiry into Maria Farmer's allegations of sexual assault at the Wexner property. The wrestlers called for accountability for the Wexner family's alleged involvement in Epstein's abuse. The wrestlers called for accountability for the Wexner family's involvement in Epstein abuse and raised the issue of the continuing influence of Abigail, she is important, Wexner's wife, and Leslie Wexner serving as, quote, biggest and best known benefactors of the university. So there you go. Wexner's, again, as we pointed out, intimately tied to Ohio State. You have this sexual abuse scandal. The wrestlers themselves are strongly suggesting that Wexner's family was involved, allegedly. and specifically highlighted not just Les Wexner, but also his wife, Abigail Koppel. L Brand shareholders filed a complaint in the Court of Chancery of Delaware on January 14, 2021, stating that Wexner, among others, created, quote, an entrenched culture of misogyny, bullying, and harassment, and was aware of abuses being committed by Jeffrey Epstein, which breached Wexner's fiduciary duty to the company and devalued the brand. The complaint also names Wexner's wife, current chair Sarah E. Nash, and former marketing officer Ed Razik, who, quote, widely known misconduct was allegedly allowed at the company. All right. Thoughts from you, Zeb, and if you got the chat, I'm going to pull up the Ohio State thing here so we can just know what the hell's going on there. But before that,
Yeah, before we get into the Ohio State thing, I mean, obviously the Epstein is going to really stick out to basically everyone. Everyone knows who Epstein is, has an idea of what that is. But what really stuck out to me was how early on they were associated. And so I went to Epstein's information and tried to find out when he got started. He started his company in 88. Him and Wexner got together in 86. So Epstein was a consultant for Wexner before he even started his company. And Wexner was also the only known billionaire client of Jeffrey Epstein. Now Epstein had other financial clients. I put that in quotes. We can tackle that another day too. But I
wait,
feel like
that's
that's
true.
notable.
He's the only known true billionaire.
He's the only publicly known billionaire client of Epstein. Well, it's Leslie Wexner, chairman and CEO of L Brands and Victoria's Secret. And at 1986, Epstein met Wexner through their mutual acquaintances, insurance executive Robert Meissner and his wife in Palm Beach.
Ooh, that's
A
worth
year
knowing.
later, he became Wexner's financial advisor. This was in 87. And then 88, Epstein founded his company, his financial company. And
Meissner.
in 91, Wexner granted Epstein full power of attorney over his affairs. The power of attorney. The power of attorney allowed Epstein to hire people, sign checks, buy and sell properties, borrow money, and do anything else of legally binding nature on Wexner's. Okay, so he had a general power of attorney.
Jesus.
Epstein
So
managed Wexner. Go ahead.
Here's a theory like our little fucking Charlie from Always Sunny in the upper left with the yarn maps and the pictures. So question one is Epstein directly working for Wexner, maybe for Meissner, for, I don't know, Israel, maybe Mossad, or is Wexner a victim of Epstein? Not that Wexner's innocent, but did Epstein get him on tape doing some fucked up shit and then leverage that to get all this control? You would think that meant it's kind of like Bertie Madoff. Remember him, the Ponzi scheme? Similar idea. If you can get one serious person with a reputation that gets stuck and you got them totally under your control, then you make them go recruit other people. So like if Wexner would have never talked to Epstein in the first place, but then he gets this Meissner guy and says, no, he's good. And he has this really cool island. You should check it out. And then that's how it starts snowballing. And then Wexner brings in more and more people. Go ahead.
What year did Wexner buy L Brands or Victoria's Secret? It was pretty early on, like 67. I mean, if I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, Les is running Victoria's Secret style operations up until they meet Jeffrey Epstein. I think Jeffrey Epstein was more of an in for himself into Wexner than blackmailing Wexner. At least the timeline would say that Wexner was running this operation. He needed a acquirer. And Epstein just happened to be there, which I think we all agree that it wasn't necessarily Epstein, but his wife, girlfriend, whatever she is.
He started the Limited in 63 with a $5,000 loan from his aunt and a matching loan from the bank. It was the mid 60s when he started getting involved in shopping malls with Taubman. 72
he acquired. So, I mean, that's 14 years of Victoria's Secret before even meeting
No,
Epstein.
wait. 72 is this Morosky guy is when he moved into an apartment and started working. Okay, so
82 Lane Bryant.
yeah, the Limited expanded in the 70s. The 70s was the decade of the Limited. 82, he gets Lane Bryant. And Victoria's Secret sounds like also 82, maybe. The way this is
They
written.
came together. And then you have Epstein meeting in 86. So, I mean, there's your timeline. So I would say that he was looking for someone to acquire advertisers, models. That would be my guess, and he facilitated Epstein. I'm just thinking out loud, you know.
No, so that's the best we can do at the moment. Ohio State frat might not mean anything, but then we have the abuse scandal. We're gonna get to his wife right now pretty soon. Meets Epstein in 86. Okay, bought Victoria's Secret in 82. And he says, you know what all these lingerie girls really need? Took them 4 years. You know what they need is some raping. Say, what are KPEs or whatever the fuck people call them? All right, so sorry. Fuck you, Joe Boo. Fucking letting your cigarette go out. Wexner's wife is almost more nuts than he is in the way this all fits together, and maybe also mentally. But
well, that's a common
Abigail,
theme also throughout all of this. Almost inevitably, all of these wives are either in on it or used as a link. Or honeypot, like a Cash Patel.
so
This
this
is
I always so not to get too suspicious of Israel right off the bat, but Judaism is a matriarchal culture. I know we've all been trained to think women are kind of fucking stupid, and a lot of them are. So are a lot of men. Are we in a matriarchy right now? It's possible that Jewish women are the true power on this planet, Zeb. We have to be open to that possibility. And you always start, so Wexner has this whole thing on him. Abigail Koppel, I'm just seeing, if you pull up the browser window. Oh, I guess I need to do that. Sorry. Has no Wikipedia page. Has no Wikipedia page. But she is the daughter. Oh my God, it's going to be deleted now. How about this? Father. Yehuda Koppel. That is an important name. He was in the precursor to the IDF. He is one of a select number of Jewish Israeli leadership people that helped form the state of Israel. And his reward for doing that was being given control of the first Israeli airline in New York City. So he was, I don't know if he was like general level, colonel level, but apparently he did some pretty aggressive shit, like actual fighting in the military to carve out this new state of Israel for Lord Rothschild. Oops, I mean the Jewish religion and nation. And his reward for that was this really high level job, and they send him to New York City. And as we know, oh my gosh, I can't believe I actually am going to use this map for a change.
let's go.
If we click on Judaism,
Ah,
got a nice little dark, highly concentrated dot there in Israel. And then the United States, which is misleading because it's really concentrated in the state of New York. And beyond that, it's actually concentrated
in
very
Florida.
heavily in New York City. Yeah, a little bit in Florida too. Compare that to the spread of, say, Christianity or Islam or even Buddhism.
It's almost
Or
like they don't want people to become
the
Jewish.
Canadian religion of Hindu. That's one never.
Did we cover it
never-
on here? All of the all of the Indians in Canada are Sikhs, specifically Sikhs.
They're the majority is Sikh. Yeah, there's more Sikhs in Canada than there are in the province that they originated in, but there's Hindus too.
I
But yeah,
think out of the Indians in Canada, it's like 96% of them are Sikhs. That's
wow,
crazy. Let me double
Seek
check
and you
that fact.
seek and you shall find. So Wexner's wife, again, while you check that, Abigail Koppel, her father, Yehuda Koppel, is like a major, major hero of the formation of the modern state of Israel. Major. Yehuda. That is Hebrew for Bob, I imagine, or something. And there is much less readily available information about her than there is on Les Wexner. It's sort of like, was it Epstein or Glenn Maxwell? Same.
Hmm.
And who is the one that's dead? Maybe. And who is the one in on a little federal vacation that might honestly? I think they're talking about letting her ass out, aren't they, Zeb?
Well, Trump was floating a pardon. I mean, he entertained a pardon plea, a pardon not too long ago. So, I mean, well, here's the problem: is if they don't release a list, or they don't have a list, or the list doesn't exist, it got sent to Valhalla. It's down there with Davy Jones, and there are no real perpetrators. What is she there for? What did she do? She didn't do anything. If none of the evidence exists, if there's no evidence.
Back up for just a second. It's no longer heaven and earth, right? Is what I'm on. It's Valhalla and Davy Jones.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was told. I mean, the FBI never lies to me, so I believe whatever they say.
it's very 2025. I like that a lot. In our new religion, you go to Valhalla or Davy Jones. Fuck.
I just want to ride the
I've been,
Black Pearl, coast off into
yeah.
the sunset on the Black Pearl. That's they call it black
Your
pilling. I'm
mom,
gonna call it black pearling from now on.
fuck this fucking planet, man. I'm laughing. Your fucking mustache will turn into a little octopus.
Make
Fucking
that's a
things.
shirt. Black pearling. I'm not black pilling. I'm black pearling. We're just taking off. There's no solutions. We're gone. We have we can't. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein's dead. Maybe Ghislaine Maxwell's about to get set free. None of
You
this shit
see how
ever
tough
happened.
to draw one conclusion, you accept Epstein actually is dead and Glenn Maxwell got away with it. But then you can draw totally another conclusion if you're like, well, Epstein's still alive somewhere. But I mean, that's who was really the main person? Was it Epstein or was it Glenn Maxwell? I think it was. I mean, we all Glenn Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell. Like, holy
Yes.
shit.
Well, I
So
guess what I would say is that Epstein never had any financial grounding. He was just a consultant, a financial consultant. That was they used it as a proxy. That's pretty obvious to me. The question is, what was he actually there for? A lot of people want to say it's acquiring women. I think that was Ghislaine's position. I think Epstein's position was acquiring intel and technology through various means of higher echelon mathematics and um, tech people, physics up there in the higher echelons of colleges, Harvard, Yale,
yep,
MIT.
yep. He was right up there doing that whole Yale thing. Although technically he was at Harvard, right?
So
Wasn't that where he got the job?
I think they had two separate roles, but the same goal, and they worked together to do that.
Yeah, and it's I mean, so yeah, so I think this potential faction of female-led, potentially Jewish, maybe not, but maybe it's because then we have Peter Thiel and the gay mafia. I sometimes wonder, Zeb, if gayness is like an evolutionary reaction to feminism.
I feel like I've heard
That
you say that before, and I don't
nature's way
like
of,
hearing it.
no, I know, but
Like
maybe like
you just give up. You don't want to deal with women anymore, so I'll just be gay.
well,
Then that's
women. There's this thing that goes on where you have a society and if it gets to a certain size, say 1 million people or something, where you start to have like the strong people that live out in the sunlight and then you have the weaker lower hierarchy people, and by necessity, because they lack physical strength, they start to develop trickery. That's the only option available to them to get what they want. Strong people at the top never understand trickery because they don't need to. And so if you look through history, you can see this, slow transition with lots of anecdotal exceptions and stuff. But in general, you go from like Genghis Khan type dudes to like tricky type dudes to sometimes straight up women. And I mean that, Alexander the Great's mother was intimately involved in his succession, all this kind of stuff. Another group, especially in the past few hundred years, that has had to learn how to be tricky and secretive and communicate with hidden, coded language is gay men. And that's just because there was a very negative consequence based on the prevailing social accepted whatevers that you would be ostracized and not allowed to be in power if you were openly gay. And so I think somewhat by accident, gay men got tricky and then started seeing what women were doing. And I do think gay men can be a little better at being tricky than women can be. So that's maybe what's going on with Peter Thiel and stuff like that. The real civil war, Zeb, is between the gay mafia and the Israeli matriarchy. And God's on the gay side. He says, I'm going to give you a superpower. I'm going to make you not care about pussy.
I mean, would you call it civil war, a struggle for the head seat? Because they are in the same, they're on the same train,
We get along well.
going the same way. They're just
You know
trying
what?
to
We
fight
dropped
who's
the
in the
ball
front car.
Last 30 years when we all threw our girlfriends and wives and say, go hang out with your gay friend. Jesus, I want to go watch football. They were fucking cooking up a revolution.
That's
Those
exactly what it
bastards.
was. I real quick on your touching on like the matriarchy. I think it's more structured to the fact that they don't want to take accountability, right? This is baked into their nature. I mean, you can look at the clip from Randy Fine the other day where he was saying we were kicked out of 109. I thought this was a joke. We were kicked out of 109 countries, and it was never our fault. That's a quote from Randy Fine. And so I think a lot of it is built in to not be accountable to oneself or to anyone, right? So we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein now, and even we're doing it. It's like, okay, so who was controlling everything? Oh, it was Ghislaine because she had ties to her father, and I think it's both, but it's built in a way where, okay, did Epstein really do it, or was it Ghislaine? And then we're gonna pardon her because, well, women get off easy, especially in a Western world.
I am beginning to I think you're kind of on the right track with Epstein. He had no background. He sort of came out of nowhere, was manufactured. I think he was the designated fall guy. I think Glenn Maxwell was using him. He was her insulation, her plausible deniability. And I know women do that with men. Like dumb women are smart enough to use men that way. It's like some guy's pissing you off, so you find some bigger guy and flirt with him a little bit, and then be like, "Hey, that guy touched my knee," and he's like, "Oh, I'll go beat him up for you." The simp, right? The simp. Yeah, women know how to do that shit, and even in 2025, until the Groypers, men still didn't really realize what was going on. So the Groypers have made a great contribution to science, if you want to look at it that way. And the term of art is simping. They've made a discovery, just sailing in the wilderness and landed on simp, and we're like, that's a thing. Let's map it out. And they're right. And they're right. But so people wielding people against each other, it's not something straight, relatively masculine guys like you and I'm assuming you're straight. I know you're straight. We don't really get into those games, but this is a world of games now. It's not a world of fistfights. You cannot
Well,
fist fight.
it comes along when you have luxury, where you don't have to go out and hunter gather. You don't have to worry about, fighting off
Right.
the survival instincts. Like if you remove the tribalism to some extent, you get luxury, and I think that's what we're seeing now is a rising of people that never would have made it in a survival scenario because they just don't have the physical and I would argue largely mental strength. Just a general well-rounded person. Now they're just cunning and clever, and that does fall
Yeah.
within the bounds of gays and women.
Zeb, who's the prince of tricks and lies?
I would say the
Is that
head
our,
of the synagogue.
is that Stan? Satan? Satan, I can't remember how you pronounce it.
NASA T minus.
NASA T minus. Go to this world map again, real quick. I just want to highlight this. It's going to be Christianity and Islam, but it is almost exactly mapped. So here's Christianity, basically just not North Africa and the Middle East. Here's Islam, which is all of North Africa and the Middle East and not really anywhere else. This maps almost perfectly to countries that Christianity is countries that are majority female. It's not by much. We're talking like 51-49, if that. And Islam are countries that, again, are like 51 male. It's not, 70-30 or anything like that. But and then you have Israel, which is not really anywhere. It's maybe Israel is orchestrating some sort of overlapping fight between these two maps. And if religion will work, they'll use religion. If gender will work, they'll use gender. But these people don't tend to do a lot of tricks. They just strap bombs on their chest and run at you and say, "Give me a hug. I want to tell you how great Allah is." These people never do anything crazy and violent, ostensibly, directly, but it's all games. Games. Mind games, economic games, social games. Clown show. Christianity just happens to overlap with the female-driven part of the world, which we call developed. Islam, which is clearly a masculine religion in a lot of ways, much more than Christianity is anyway. I would disagree with that, but on the surface. Yeah, interesting. Male,
All right.
female, people playing them against each other. Christianity, Islam, maybe people playing. I don't know. So just some thoughts. Just some thoughts. Go ahead. You look like
Somebody's shaking the jar, John. Somebody's shaking the jar, and it's probably not the people actually in the jar. Or at least if they are in the jar, they have an escape route.
The jar. And that was all because we had started to talk about Les Wexner's wife, Abigail Koppel. Hard to find information on her, though she's still very, very powerful. She is the daughter, like Glenn Maxwell, of a very prominent Israeli person. Factions.
So I mean, I haven't followed this up much. We're looking at Epstein. We're looking at Les Wexner. I mean, I see a two-person pattern here. I'm imagining that as we go through this pattern is going to come up more and more. That these women have far more power than a wife should, and like I said, it's a thing that they do. It's a force multiplier when you can have two people in the same house that are heading up significant amounts of power.
Well, again, I'll remind you, Vivek's wife is a medical doctor that works at the Wexner Medical Center in Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
JD Vance's wife, Usha Vance. Where the hell does she work does she work in? She's probably not working.
She's just a connection to Vivek.
Right. Okay.
Like a reverse honeypot.
A reverse honeypot. Well, so I think
like a mode grab.
maybe that's what I mean by like I kind of suspect that JD Vance is gay. Like we know Peter Thiel is gay.
He said he was gay.
Yeah, he literally in his book mentions having gay thoughts. JD Vance does, which would mean Usha is either doesn't know it and he just bit the bullet and took some Viagra and got those kids made, or she does know, and she is what you call a beard, right? You know that term, right?
Yeah. Proxy
like
wife.
Nancy Pelosi is a good example. Her husband that got caught getting, attacked
Mm-hmm.
by a robber, the guy who everyone
In the middle of
gay
the night.
yeah,
Yeah.
well-known gay prostitute. So Nancy Pelosi is also a beard in a sense. Barack Obama is another one people suspect is gay.
What? No.
I don't know if that's a beard though.
That's an actual beard that you got to shave.
That's a whole fucking Sikh religion, not allowing yourself to cut your hair there. That's what fucking Big Mike is. But yeah, the beards and the patterns. There are rumors. The reason I mentioned the beards is that Abigail Koppel is a beard. That Les Wexner is gay. What is Les Wegner's career? He's worked in fashion. He's created these nice, affordable brands of cute little fun clothes.
Would you say they
Although
were gay or just degenerate, sexual degenerates
yeah,
across the board?
there's a difference. Yeah, there's a difference. I agree. I don't know. We don't know. I think it's
like
just
Peter Thiel's gay.
yes.
Les
Yes.
Wegner is a degenerate.
At minimum, it seems
At
like.
minimum. Okay. All right.
Amongst we're making assumptions. I don't go to Hollywood fashion parties, obviously, and Zeb might maybe, but like you hear these, the stories. They're pretty convincing at this point. That there's some pretty fucking degenerate shit going on in that whole fashion world. And they're certainly willing to kill each other over stupid shit, just like the music industry and anything else. So yeah, I gotta believe somebody whose personal interest led to the life that created Les Wexner is got some strange degenerate.
Well, go
appetites.
to our Ohio page, John.
We
were talking about this with Vivek, and we were talking about this with JD Vance. No, not that one. The one where we had the list going with Wexner, Vance, and Vivek on there. There's a common thread here, and it wasn't really intentional, but the Ohio thing. And we mentioned earlier in the last couple episodes that this data center project has been a very long time coming, like decades. I guess the question I'm asking myself is it 6 decades long? Like that's a long time. Like that was pre-internet. You know what I mean? So or did they just build these spider webs that they can leverage whenever they need to?
Wait, say this again. You're saying this Ohio conspiracy thing is maybe 60 years old, and that seems too long to make sense to you?
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is the Ohio conspiracy, for anyone now tuning in, is that they're building this new quote unquote new Silicon Valley, bigger and better than Silicon Valley, which is the data centers, the AI data centers that they're trying to build in the Ohio River Valley. And
oh, I didn't know this. That's
really?
That's extra interesting. So
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
maybe they're trying to get the fuck out of California.
They are exactly trying to get out of California. Well, they can't. The problem is they've ruined that area, and so they need somewhere else to go. And Ohio is a perfect place, right? Because you have the land, you have the water, you have basically what you need over there. And then you have, okay, how do we acquire that? Well, if we can make JD Vance president, if we can make Vivek a governor, what's stopping us? At that point, it's nothing. And so my question is this a 60-year project, which I think is far too long, or do they just have these spider webs everywhere to pull the trigger whenever they want to? You could point it.
I think it's more that, and I think that this origin of the spider web you're calling it, which is a good term, is very old. Very old.
Well, you can think of the Rothschilds, the banking system, right? I mean, the father had sons, which he spiderwebbed out to the rest of the larger cities, and then facilitated banking and transaction for them.
Amschel Rothschild is where I think a lot of this will end up. We'll definitely talk about it just for the sake of you need to talk about that stuff to understand the modern world. But then his son Nathaniel, especially in England, Napoleon, Battle of Waterloo. Nathaniel knows before anybody else in England that Napoleon lost. He starts selling stock, implying that Napoleon won. Everybody else starts panic selling. It was considered the greatest and largest wealth transfer in the history of the planet. Nathaniel Rothschild basically bought England for pennies on the dollar
Insider trading.
by making people believe that Napoleon had beat Duke. Jesus Christ, what's the fucking guy's name, dude? My massive mind blank.
I don't know. What I want to
Wellington?
say yeah. I don't know.
Am I thinking of Beef Wellington? Help me out, chat. You know who I'm talking about. Waterloo. Oh, I'm getting old, man. My head is breaking down. That or the Jews are beaming lasers into my head because I'm talking about Abigail Koppel. I don't know. It could be either.
I guess
Bro.
who is Les Wexner's heir? Right? So we have Soros and we have Alex Soros. Who picks up Wexner's?
Ooh, does he have children? That's a good question. I want to say no.
I mean, a couple $1 billion, I mean, that goes a long way, John.
Oh, no, he does have 4 children. They're not listed, though. Let me see. Personal life.
Actually, let's Duke of Wellington.
Yes, okay. Duke of Wellington, thank you. Can you pull up the... nope, you can't. I can, though. Sorry. Keep forgetting that we got a little combined switching operation going on here. Les Wexner, personal life. In 1985, article Wexner discussed that he had trouble sleeping, which he attributed to his Dybbuk spirit that he dubbed Spilks, the demon that always wakes up in the morning with Wexner and tweaks and pulls at him. Yeah, he's normal. He's a normal guy. He noted it had been intermittently appearing since childhood, and he attributed his driving, his bachelor lifestyle, his business drive to trying to escape the anxiety his Dybbuk spirit Shipsk caused, and always had music playing as he couldn't stand the sound of silence. This dude's schizophrenic then? Is that how we're supposed to read that?
I think so.
One girlfriend converted to Judaism and changed her name to Cohen after a year of dating Wexner. What? On January 23rd, 93, Wexner married Abigail S. Koppel, who does not have a Wikipedia page, which is why it's red. The couple has 4 children. Let's take a look at this here. What was that number? 51. Oh, you damn New York Times. How do you get around that again, Zeb? Do you remember? There's a way.
Archive.us. Archive. Something.
Let's approach it from a different direction here.
I want to note real quick while you're doing that. Right under that, we start to get to George Bush. So it's going to get interesting real quick.
All right, well, we'll put a pin, but apparently it's not impossible to find his children's names. Sarah, Harry, David, and Hannah. All right, but you were saying under that. Okay, so
George W. Bush.
Yes, George W. Bush appointed Wexner to serve the honorary delegation to accompany him. Let me just highlight it. Accompany him to Jerusalem for the celebration of the 60th anniversary of the State of Israel in May 2008, right after he cut ties with Epstein. So he cut ties in 2007. Bush obviously knows about all that shit, still appoints him to serve in the honorary delegation to Jerusalem, 60th anniversary. So 2028 is the 80th anniversary, huh? They say no Israeli states ever lasted for 80 years, Eb. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
80 years is what seems to take them out. Give them something and give them 80 years and it'll fall apart.
Donna said 100 million to Ohio State. Have we got that there yet? I don't think so.
Philanthropy, yeah, it's above this.
Okay. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, his name's all over Ohio State. Atlas dropped that by a second ago.
Yes. He was the major funder in the Wexner Center of the Arts at Ohio State University. The Rabbi Herbert A. Friedman to establish the Wexner Foundation's first core program aimed, quote, to educate Jewish communal leaders in the history, thought, traditions, and contemporary challenges of the Jewish people. In 91, with billionaire Charles Bronfman, another guy we'll get to, I think, the study group, more widely known as the Mega Group, a loosely organized club. Well, that's a damn faction right there, of some of the country's wealthiest, most influential businessmen who were concerned with Jewish issues. So that's going on the fucking list.
Hold on. Is that out of Ohio specifically, or?
I've never heard of this. Mega groups, influential Jewish entrepreneurs founded by Les Wexner and Charles Bronfman. They met twice yearly, 50 members, including Steven Spielberg. Hey, Chicken McEpstein connection.
And Hollywood. Very Hollywood.
Dude, this is kind of important. So let's fucking add that on there.
Mega Group. Jewish Study Group.
Of course it has a fucking innocuous fake name. Study Group. Mega Group. And I think I'm going to put in there Charles Bronfman. There we go. All right, coming back to here. Group B10, a pro-Israel lobby group. The organization is also said to try to influence U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East. You don't say. In 2003, it employed Republican political consultant Frank Luntz to help the group mobilize support for Israel under the name Mega. God, why couldn't it be Mega, Zeb? That would have been fucking perfect if it was an I instead of an E. The group is also said to have had contacts with the Israeli intelligence agency Mossad. What do you know? You don't say.
That's a shocker.
And to have served as, quote, a vehicle for influence operations in the United States. Why are they telling us this?
That's what I'm thinking. This is like the third time.
In The Big Short, where he's like, why is he confessing? And they go, he's not confessing, he's bragging.
Well, this is like the third time. It's almost every episode. It's like, okay, why did they even put that there? It's like Vivek was paying for the editing of Wikipedia, and
should have read the
Look
at the very last thing there. Jeffrey Epstein is said to have used the group to build up his network of high-ranking contacts in business, media, and politics. Do we just solve it? Do we end the show? It's the study group.
Wexner was Epstein's primary financial supporter, yet later claimed to have known nothing of his criminal activities.
Well, he wasn't going to be like, yeah, I knew all about it and I was plowing kids. No one's going to fucking say that.
I mean, I guess to answer your question, do we end the show here? I think the answer is no. And this is what I want to get to eventually. It's going to take a long time to get there. You have this higher echelon. Huh?
Look at all these episodes. Oh my God, does that say Lester Crown? Is that the Crown guy that just got assassinated?
I have no idea.
Oh my God, hold on. You talk, and I'll try to.
Yeah, I want to knock down all these guys. Obviously, I'd like to get some politicians, some of these Hollywood guys, some of this mega group guys, but eventually, I would like to get to maybe we can figure out a little bit more about the families. You know, the 13 families or the Committee of 300, and kind of dive in there. Maybe we could pin some of them eventually.
This guy Lester Crown has a son. I did remember that, James. Okay. James died in a single vehicle crash at the Aspen Motorsports Park in Woody Creek, Colorado on June 25th, 2023. his 70th birthday.
Single vehicle crash.
With suspicious circumstances is my recollection. Again, just so where that all came from was study group members, Lester Crown. Lester Crown has a son, James. James just died on his 70th birthday in a single vehicle crash. Oh, apparently he was also a business partner with Jeffrey Epstein. Fuck, man. I'm gonna have to go read it. Jesus, I wasn't expecting to run into this shit.
That's what we're here for, dude.
Max Fisher, Abramson, Meyerhoff, Tisch, Schusterman, Stevie Spielberg. Fucking weirdo. Starting to realize why Spielberg was touted so highly as a director in my young life. But yeah, so wow, interesting. They went on to inspire a number of philanthropic initiatives such as the Partnership for Excellence in Jewish Education, Birthright Israel, and the upgrading of National Hillel. And then he was on the board of trustees. This is Les Wexner for Ohio State University from 88 till 97, so almost 10 years. And then again in 2005, I'm sorry, let me read that again. He was appointed to his second term and was elected chair in 2009. Huh. Oh, yep. Here's what someone was talking about. Just want to get to that here. He pledged a donation of $100 million to Ohio State to be allocated to the university's academic medical center and James Cancer Hospital and Solve Research Institute, with additional gifts to the Wexner Center for the Arts and other areas. The gift is the largest in the university's history. So yeah, he's kind of like our Penn State's Terry Pagula. Although he built a hockey rink. But yeah, it is 1:20 here, Zeb. I know we started a little bit late, but I know you got your own show to go to at 3. And we have
I'm free today.
It's like we pulled up a rock and found a bunch of worms, man. Study group.
Mega group.
Bunch of potato bugs. Something like that. All right, so we've asserted that we're going to go one person at a time. Do we do Epstein next week?
I don't think so, actually. I mean, we got plenty to choose from. I mean, go to the mega group. I would like to look a little bit more at if the Charles Bronfman. I don't really know about him, but if he founded mega group, I think maybe we should look into him.
Well, you can throw in the comments if you think there's an obvious person you want us to go to next. If we should continue this whole
could do Spielberg.
Could do Spielberg quickly. Let me put Wexner. I think he's definitely on the high end of leader. I think he is very much into that Yale thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't max him out on the Yale thing.
And well, he's authentically rapey or fake. I don't know. We've been kind of using fake as the negative. So we're going to kind of put him down here for now. We're going to save it as E3. And we'll be able to load that up next time.
As we continue to you got him at 100 on leader. Can we put him at like
90?
Yeah, I was going to go 85. Let's go 85. Yeah. I think that looks good.
E3.json replace. All right, we got it saved. Leslie Herbert Wexner. I'm trying to have the first and last words of the episode, Zeb, just so we stay on track. Les Wexner. A lot of this context, again, go back if you would like and watch the episode 1 on JD Vance, episode 2 on Vivek. We'll probably come back to them at some point as we get more and more context. But I hope you enjoyed another episode of Factions. That's all I, Caligula, have for you today. Do check out NAV, New American Vision on YouTube. You're watching it right now. Like, share, subscribe. Go check out ZebBoykin. Follow him. I am John Ward. You can follow me if you want to see some crazy shit and me losing my mind at 3 a.m. on Twitter. But other than that, not a lot of benefit to you. Continue to work on all the interesting stuff for that channel, but it's going to take some time. Zeb, Any final thoughts?
No, good show today. I mean, this is what we're doing, right? This is what we're trying to figure out. What are the factions? Who is who? And I think we dove in pretty heavy at the end of this thing. So we lifted up the rock. We got to start plucking out the worms and seeing where they lead to. Mega group next week.
Study group next week.
Study group next week. But
yes, I'm down.
Go ahead and take it. I enjoyed it today.
I did too. No, I don't have anything further. You want to play us out with that intro that Frank the Tank made, which is pretty sweet?
Yep. Shout out Frank. See you next week.
Later. Watch us on Net.